That melting cake dripping into the social worker's teacup was a real accident. Robin Williams improvised his entire response on the spot. This film holds 972 boxes of footage the world has never seen. These are 20 hidden details you completely missed in Mrs. Doubtfire. Number 20. The animated sequence at the start of Mrs. Doubtfire feels like a cheerful opening credit moment. A talking parrot, bright colors, nothing too unusual. The truth is far more remarkable. Animator Chuck Jones, the man who created Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, directed the sequence. Jones produced 5 full minutes of original animation specifically for this film. Director Chris Columbus used only 1 minute of it. The remaining 4 minutes have never been publicly released. Watch the opening credits and notice how abruptly the sequence ends. 4 minutes of Chuck Jones animation simply disappeared into a production vault. Every frame you see on screen is the tip of a much larger hidden project. The main cast carried casting secrets just as surprising. Number 19. Robin Williams feels completely inseparable from the role of Daniel Hillard. That reality almost never happened. Tim Allen was offered the lead role and turned it down. He went directly on to star in The Santa Claus the same year. Novelist Anne Fine named Warren Beatty as her first choice for the role. 20th Century Fox built the entire project around Williams from the start, meaning Allen's departure was the single decision that defined what this film became. Watch any scene where Williams shifts between Daniel and Mrs. Doubtfire in one continuous take. That specific kind of performance was always the creative target, but a very different film almost existed first. 2 more major roles were filled by second choices, and one admitted he took the part for the income. Number 18. Stu reads as a polished, confident foil to Daniel's chaos throughout the film. Pierce Brosnan plays the role with total composure. In interviews, Brosnan was candid. He took the role partly because he needed the income. This was 2 years before his James Bond debut in GoldenEye. Actor Daniel Stern was considered first but was unavailable, busy directing Rookie of the Year. Brosnan also confirmed that his reactions to Williams' improvisation during filming were largely genuine. He had no idea what Williams would do in most takes. Watch Brosnan's face in the restaurant scene and notice the precise moments where his expression shifts from scripted discomfort into something that looks far more like real confusion. The chaos Williams brought to set started with a very specific deal made before a single camera rolled. Number 17. The film appears seamlessly planned in every scene, as if director Chris Columbus choreographed each moment with precision. The production reality was the opposite. On the first day of filming, Williams told Columbus directly, "Give me 3 or 4 scripted takes, then let me play." Columbus agreed and immediately restructured his entire shooting approach around that deal. He ran up to 4 cameras simultaneously throughout production, treating the set like a documentary to capture genuine reactions from co-stars who had no idea what Williams would do next. Actor Matthew Lawrence recalled doing 50 takes of certain scenes, all completely different and all usable. Watch any scene where a co-star's expression suddenly shifts mid-shot. That reaction was most likely real, captured by a camera they did not know was rolling. Number 16. Williams appears effortlessly in control in every scene, moving through comedy and drama without any visible hesitation. On multiple occasions, Williams improvised so far beyond the script that the camera crew ran out of loaded film mid-take. The script supervisor had to handwrite every ad-lib in real time, and sometimes could not keep up. Nearly 2 million feet of film was shot across the entire production. According to Variety, that volume generated enough raw material to assemble 3 separate versions of the film at entirely different rating levels. Watch any reaction shot from a background crew member in this film. The laughter visible on their faces is real and unperformed. Those 3 rating versions are sitting in a vault right now, and one of them nearly triggered an international censorship event. Number 15. British audiences who saw Mrs. Doubtfire in cinemas in late 1993 watched a version different from every other theatrical release worldwide. The British Board of Film Classification assigned the film a 12 certificate based on wordplay in specific dialogue exchanges, blocking families with younger children from attending. Fox appealed. Columbus approved removing exactly 13 seconds of specific dialogue to bring the certificate down to PG. The revised version replaced the original in UK cinemas in May 1994. The same film played at 2 different content levels within the same country during a single theatrical run. Watch the scene where Mrs. Doubtfire answers the phone. In some versions, the wordplay heard there simply does not exist. That removal left 3 complete cuts in existence, stored in boxes most people have never seen. Number 14. Every scene in Mrs. Doubtfire feels complete and purposefully assembled. That feeling is the result of an enormous amount of material being withheld. Columbus has confirmed he personally possesses 972 boxes of footage from the production production, the vast majority of which has never been seen outside the editing room. The theatrical release runs 125 minutes. The uncut version would have run 157 minutes, meaning more than 30 minutes of fully shot material was removed. Columbus has spoken openly in Hollywood Reporter about using this footage as the foundation for a future documentary about Williams and the making of the film. Watch any scene that cuts away from Williams mid-performance. The prosthetics behind every Doubtfire scene held their own secret the film never accurately showed its audience. Number 13. The scene where Mrs. Doubtfire's face peels away like a single rubber mask is one of the most recognizable images in the film. The real prosthetics were nothing like that. Makeup artist Vay Neal led a team that applied between 8 and 13 separate foam latex pieces to Williams' face every morning, each individually glued, blended, and painted. Application took 4 to 4.5 hours, requiring Williams to arrive at 3 in the morning to be camera ready by 8. Neal repeated this process 54 times across production and later called it the most difficult work of her career. Watch any close-up of Mrs. Doubtfire's cheekbones and jaw. Each of those areas is a separate foam latex piece. The cake disguise scene was originally planned around a completely different food. Number 12. The moment where Daniel slaps food onto his face to impersonate a nanny is one of the film's most visually striking gags. The original plan involved an avocado. The makeup team working under prosthetics designer Greg Canham tested it, and the result looked nothing like a human face. The production at 20th Century Fox switched to cake frosting after testing multiple alternatives, specifically because the icing allowed Williams' actual facial expressions to partially show through the disguise. Columbus recalled that the switch happened days before the scene was scheduled and required the prop department to source frosting that would soften at the correct rate under studio lighting. Watch the scene and notice how the icing moves when Williams speaks. That specific choice led to the most valuable unscripted moment in the film. Number 11. The cake face tea scene with the social worker looks like a precisely timed and choreographed comic set piece. The moment the icing melted into Mrs. Sellner's teacup was entirely accidental. Studio lighting caused the frosting to soften faster than anyone had anticipated during filming. Williams improvised his response in real time. The line, "There you go, you've got your cream and sugar now," does not appear in the Singer and Dixon screenplay. Columbus kept the take because actress Anne Haney playing Mrs. Sellner reacted completely genuinely, making it impossible to recreate. Watch the moment the icing drops into the cup. Her expression shifts from confusion into something far more real because she did not know it was coming. Williams' real family had a hidden presence somewhere in this production. Number 10. The film uses a fully professional supporting cast throughout, with no obvious cameos or in-jokes in the background roles. There's one major exception. Robert Todd Williams, Robin Williams' actual half-brother, played the bartender at the Claremont Resort pool scene. He is credited in the film as Dr. Toad, and that role is his only film credit of any kind. Williams arranged the casting outside the standard casting process. His presence was not publicly announced during production. The interaction between Williams and the bartender in that scene is a genuine family moment embedded inside a background. Watch the pool bar scene and look at the bartender in the background. That is Williams' real half-brother. The actor playing his on-screen rival carried a hidden detail into the restaurant location. Number 9. The restaurant sequence where Daniel's two lives collide appears to be a carefully controlled and rehearsed comedy. The week-long shoot at Bridges Restaurant in Danville, California gave Williams maximum room to improvise, and Brosnan confirmed he never knew what Williams would do. The moment that finally broke Sally Field's composure was not Williams at all. Brosnan made an arm noise during a break between takes. Field, who had resisted Williams' best efforts throughout the entire production, broke character completely. Williams reportedly said to her, "Well, who knew that it was only that kind of humor that was going to make you laugh?" Watch Field's face during the transition moments between dialogue in that scene. The film's ending was nearly replaced with something that would have reframed every scene before it. Number 8. The bittersweet ending where Daniel and Miranda remain divorced has always felt like the only emotionally honest conclusion the film could have. It almost never existed. Screenwriter Randy Mayim Singer wrote the couple staying divorced from the very beginning of development. 20th Century Fox pushed for a reconciliation ending and fired Singer when she declined to change it. A second writer drafted a reunion version that was shot and reviewed. Williams, Field, and Columbus all objected. According to Dave Itzkoff's biography Robin, published in 2018, Williams' refusal to perform the studio version was decisive. Watch the final scene between Daniel and Miranda and notice how precisely it avoids any romantic implication. That restraint was a fight won against direct studio opposition. The refusal went far beyond a creative meeting. Number 7. The reunion ending was not simply declined in a meeting. Williams actively refused to perform it. He argued from personal experience as a divorced parent that showing a reconciliation would reinforce a misconception mental health professionals identify as harmful to children navigating divorce. Columbus and Field reinforced that refusal. Singer was eventually rehired, and the original ending was restored. The final monologue, where Mrs. Doubtfire speaks to a child named Katie about what makes a family, was largely improvised by Williams, and does not appear in any draft of the screenplay. Watch the closing monologue and notice Williams makes no fixed eye contact with the camera at any point. The delivery was unscripted and captured in one continuous take. The source material behind this film barely resembles what audiences saw on screen. Number 6. The warmth at the center of this film feels like something inherited from Anne Fine's original story. It was not. Fine's 1987 novel alias Madame Doubtfire is set in England, has no elaborate prosthetics, and the children recognize their father's disguise immediately without any dramatic reveal. There is no Stu character, no television career subplot, and it ends with Miranda offering Daniel a job as gardener. Fine told The Guardian that she found the film sentimental and described it as a pantomime version of her story. She confirmed she never met Williams. Watch the scene where the children realize who Mrs. Doubtfire is. In Fine's novel, that moment of revelation never existed as a dramatic scene. The real name behind the story came from a place no one expected. Number 5. The name Mrs. Doubtfire sounds invented for comedy. It was a real person's name attached to a real business. The character name originated from a second-hand shop that operated in Edinburgh in the 1970s, owned by a woman named Annabella Coutts. Coutts named the shop after her first husband, Arthur Cyril Doubtfire. Fine encountered the name and used it directly in her novel without alteration. The name traveled from an Edinburgh street into a British children's book and into one of the highest-grossing comedies in Hollywood history, unchanged. Watch the scene where Daniel first spots the name in a newspaper. That exact name came from a real Edinburgh storefront decades before this film existed. The production hit a tribute inside its most watched scene that almost every viewer has passed without noticing. Number 4. The moment Williams bumps into a man while leaving the restaurant bathroom in the Doubtfire disguise looks like a minor background gag. That man is Williams' actual stunt double from the kitchen fire scene. His presence in the restaurant hallway was a deliberate in-joke placed by Columbus as a tribute to the stunt work on the production. The stunt double's face is slightly different from Williams in the kitchen fire sequence. Watch the kitchen fire sequence and compare the face in long shot to the close-up. Two different people appear in what looks like one unbroken take. That detail has been visible in every viewing since 1993. It is one of many details deliberately placed throughout this production. A family scene elsewhere in the film contains foreshadowing most viewers have never consciously noticed. Number 3. The scene where the Hillard children watch television in the background looks like ordinary set dressing. The specific episode of The Dick Van Dyke Show playing on that screen features a storyline directly about wigs and disguise. Columbus selected the episode deliberately. The link has been running on screen in the background of that scene since the film's release in 1993. Visible in every home viewing and every theatrical screening. Pause the scene when the children are watching television and look at what is actually playing behind them. The disguise plot of the entire film is running simultaneously on the background screen. According to published production notes, that choice was not accidental. The film's final scene contains a hidden name connecting a real crew member to a fictional babysitter list. Number 2. The scene where Lydia reviews a list of potential new babysitters at the film's conclusion appears to be generic prop dressing filled with invented fictional names. One name crossed off on that list reads Paula Dupre. She was the real associate producer on the production. The placement was deliberate. Dupre appears in the film's end credits in her professional capacity, and then appears again, silently crossed off during the film's final minutes. Pause on the babysitter list during the closing sequence and look at the names in the middle of the page. A real crew member's full name is written there. The detail that changes every argument scene has been hiding in plain sight since the first day of production. Number 1. Miranda's emotional responses throughout this film carry a quality that sits apart from pure performance. The stillness, the restraint, the controlled pain that surfaces in every argument scene feels different from acting. Sally Field was going through her own real-life divorce from producer Alan Greisman during the entire production. She never disclosed this publicly while filming was underway. According to published Columbus interviews in 2023, Field brought a level of emotional specificity to the role that he had not anticipated and could not have directed. It came entirely from what she was personally living through. Watch any argument scene between Field and Williams and notice how her reactions stay still as he escalates. That stillness was not a performance choice. It was lived experience. Mrs. Doubtfire was built on accidents, refusals, and personal truths the studio tried to remove. A name from an Edinburgh shop, a stunt double in a hallway, a screenwriter fired and rehired, and a lead actress drawing from her own divorce. Which hidden detail surprised you most, and what film should we open next?